Hello, fellow explorers. We've had quite a lot of fun. Karin, myself, and Ollie are all in the London office, and I'm a little bit taller than Karin. So she's sitting on cushions to make me not look like abnormal. So we've had a bit of fun setting up today, hence a bit more laughter than usual. But we're joined, Karin, our head of VP of Expedition Development, Verena, our chief scientist, who's in Switzerland, and Ollie, who also heads up our guest communications, or CRM. So great to have the team here. And as Lee said, a fantastic team in the background. So please do add questions in the chat, and they'll be answered as we go. But we will also take a question and answer session at the end. Okay, many of you may be new to HX, so we'll do a little introduction to HX and what HX is about. HX is the brand that's been born from Hurtigruten Expeditions. Very proud of our 130-year heritage. Our expeditions are the blend of adventure, comfort, and sustainability. And we build those together with our years of experience, experienced teams. But at the heart of what we do is made for curious travelers. So we very much value our science and education program, and also the sort of adventurous spirit which we follow in the footsteps of our great explorers, and the names of our ships, Roald Amundsen and Fridtjof Nansen and Fram. If you're new to expedition cruising, the real pricey job is that we're taking you to places you can't go in other ways, and we're using the ship as a base camp and taking you out on small expedition boats for incredible experiences, whether it be on land or on sea or kayaks. So we're doing all those type of things from the ship. We're specifically talking about Antarctica today. So we've got some amazing images of, like this one here, penguins, whales, seals, all sorts of amazing things. But I think one of the things that we are very proud of is that we are the leader in Antarctic travel. We're the #1 operator, so we very much look forward to you joining us, but we really look forward to that. Some of the feedback from other webinars we've done is that we have not been using video material so much. So today we're going to break with tradition and show you some videos. So this is a short introduction video featuring our expedition leader, Thorstein, filmed last season.
I feel it's a sensation.
Welcome to the Antarctic continent.
Antarctica is the place where you see and understand what we need to protect. When you have been there, it changes your perception of life. You see nature at its most pure. Seeing the penguins, having them look at you, pondering who you are and what you are like, and then just walking off, not bothered by your presence. That is something special. Something that you experience rarely with wild animals. In Antarctica, when you are here, watch, listen, and feel it. Take that time to actually appreciate where you are and what you are actually seeing. Just remember to listen and see if you see it calm. There is no silence in Antarctica. You hear the crackling of the ice, some distant wildlife. You hear a puff of a whale in the distance that you might not see. But this you can only experience if you yourself take the time to listen.
We have some big ones here.
The mission is to have guests fall in love.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
To understand it.
195 million years old.
And to broaden their minds.
But it is blocked by the huge iceberg on the other side.
To see the stars in the eyes of guests when they see their first penguin, or when they see their first iceberg, when they walk on snow for the first time. Antarctica is a place you can know everything about, but the feeling you get, the sensation that it gives you, is something you cannot get anywhere else.
Wow. Let's go back there. It just takes us back. It puts hairs on the back of our neck, I think. We sort of, Karen and I were going, oh, that's this place, that's this place. So yeah, brilliant. Yeah, we need to include more videos later. So in this webinar, we're going to talk about this next season. We've got 33 different itineraries to Antarctica, of which there's 5 slight variants, but there's multiple different ones, including trips to South Georgia and the Falkland Islands. We're going to concentrate on this webinar talking about Antarctica, but it would be amiss if we didn't talk about South Georgia very briefly. I'm going to ask Karin to talk a little bit about, we put some shots together here. Karin, what makes South Georgia so special for you?
I would say the wildlife is what makes it so special. We call it the Serengeti of the Southern Ocean, not for exactly for that reason. And it is the variety of both penguins and seals, with both, I would say, the king penguin, which you can't really see anywhere else. You can see a few in the Falklands. And then you also have the bird life. I mean, the sheer number of albatrosses, and that now when we've had the eradication programs taking back the flora, which means that you can the endemic species can now also breed better on the islands, and the rats are gone. This is for years to come have been an oasis for wildlife, but it's going to be more and more into the future just because of those programs that have restored South Georgia. Amazing place.
And Verena, you're particularly fond of the albatross. There's lovely picture here. Tell us a bit about your love of albatross.
Well, it's an amazing bird. It can cover thousands of kilometers in a go. They are the only birds that have been recorded to go around the globe without stopping, for example. So they are amazing, and they have made South Georgia their home. There are, like Karin said, many species that do breed in South Georgia, and it is a breathtaking goosebump moment when you step foot on an island in South Georgia and you see the biggest flying bird in our planet, the wandering albatross, nesting there next to you. It's just out of this world.
And they are huge.
They are 3.5 meters.
Yeah, wingspan. We do see them on the ship crossing the Drake Passage and on all our itineraries, but to see them nesting in their natural habitat, South Georgia. And our voyages to South Georgia, we only go to South Georgia on MS Fram. They're long voyages, and if people say, which trip should I do? And if you've got the time and money, where else would you
go for it? Yeah.
But also, the Falkland Islands is also, for me, an incredible group of islands with that mixture of incredible landscape and scenery from the West Falkland and the islands, the wildlife, but also the settlement and the history, but also, just Stanley and the colors. And of course, when we're going to Antarctica in the northern winter, we're going to the Antarctic or the southern summer. So you get these incredible flowers and stuff in the Falklands, which really do that. But yeah, the spring, summer. Verena, which is your favorite? What's your favorite thing about the Falklands?
It's also the amount of different wildlife that you get to see on one particular spot. And for example, that top left image is one of my favorite places on Earth. That's Southern Island, and there you get to see penguins and oyster catchers and seals and three species of even 4 potential species of penguins. So it is an incredible place to tick your boxes in terms of wildlife.
And of course, all these islands are sitting in this abundant food resource of the oceans around them. So hence it's been amazing for bird life and the marine life.
Yes. And underestimated as a destination. It's very undervalued, I would say, because the wildlife here is just as vibrant as any other sub-Antarctic island, but it doesn't have the reputation it should have for the wildlife. The black-browed albatross colonies there, some of the best you will ever see.
Yeah.
So
And,
Falklands.
So again, our voyages on Fram go to the Falklands and also Roald Armenton. Before Christmas, we go there, and then also at the start and the end of the season, we do some trips. So if you are interested and you're looking at the website, then Roald Armenton, but also at the start and end of the season, so November and March. Which brings us on to the question we get, and we were asked before this webinar: when is the best time to go to Antarctica? For me, anytime. It's the time you're there. You just got to go.
Yeah.
Verena, you're our chief scientist. You study animals and you work with lots of our guest scientists. And of course, we talk about the season based around the breeding cycle. Can you talk us a bit through that and what people can expect to see in terms of wildlife through the season?
Well, there is always going to be some form of wildlife to be seen in Antarctica. But if you are really looking to experience the penguin and the chicks, then we would suggest you go for Christmas time or a bit after that, January, February, so that you can experience those. If whales is what is on your list, then fortunately, they have recovered very well from the whaling era, and you get to see whales now almost on every departure. But the later you go on the season, the more chances you will have to see them enjoying life and gorging themselves with the krill. If you want to see seal pups, on the contrary, then the beginning of the season is the best season to be there.
Majestic creatures, and you see these eyes.
So there you go. That would be.
This is what happens when you invite Ollie into a webinar. So he's gone bright red, but we'll get him own back shortly. HX has a fleet of 5 ships, and the 3 that we're talking about here going to Antarctica are 2 newest ships, MS Roald Armenton and MS Fridtjof Nansen, hybrid vessels, Polar Class 6 vessels, built. All our ships are built for the purpose, but these are our newest, most comfortable, spectacular ships that are just amazing to be sailing on. We call Fram our spearhead of our expedition fleet. She's been almost 20 years old now. Karin has lived on Fram for years and years, working as expedition leader before she was not allowed to go back to sea. But yeah, Fram, we're all very fond of Fram. A little feel of what life is like on board and cabins. And again, lots of details on our website. So we're giving a sort of little overview. But these are the type of cabins the ships are built to a Norwegian or Scandinavian design to an incredible high quality, so incredibly comfortable. Life on board is very informal, very sort of family style. We now have everything all included, so you don't have to dip your hands in your pockets for everything day to day, whether it be Wi-Fi, drinks, cocktails, all that type of stuff. We do a specific pre-departure webinars. So if you do book with us, you'll get to hear from us again, obviously with paperwork preparing you, but we also do another talk talking about in preparation of what you would need to take.
Inspired.
But what we'd like to just talk a little bit now is more about the destination. All our trips, we're sailing from our gateway ports of either Ushuaia or Punta Arenas, and at the southern tip of South America. Our trips actually start with a hotel night in Buenos Aires or Santiago, and then we take you by a charter flight down to the gateway ports and do the same in return. Those are for the main bulk of the trips, but of course at the start and the end of the season, we start some in Valparaiso and some in Buenos Aires. The Drake Passage, Verena, we have a fantastic picture. I think, is that a petrel or a...
That's a giant petrel. Yes.
Tell us a bit about the Drake and what happens in the Drake Passage.
Well, the Drake is like the initiation to Antarctica. It is the time for you to start getting excited and learn as much as possible from the destination, from our experts on the expedition team. It is also the opportunity for us to put you up to date with all the requirements to do landings in a proper and responsible way in Antarctica. So it is the time to start building up those dreams and learning a lot about the destination. Yeah.
Excellent. And one of the things, Karin, I know we get, when we sail out of Ushuaia or Punta Arenas, the scenery, and I think that's really underrated. How do you sort of when the excitement when we leave and how that builds and the beagle and
the beagle, yes, and so it's a kind of a gradual process, I would say. So you leave the familiarity of the mountains around Ushuaia, but you have the channel for about 6 to 7 hours before we kind of go into the open ocean. And as soon as we reach the open ocean, these creatures start to appear. And with that, I mean the birds and large quantities of both petrels and albatrosses. To me, or at least for those of us who have done it more than once, it feels like coming home as soon as you enter and you see the birds coming towards the ship. It is such a welcoming committee. It's beautiful. And then it kind of changes throughout the Drake. So then the petrels come, and then towards the end, you start to look for penguins in the water, and they jump in groups. So it is that, so it's gradual. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we cross the Drake Passage, we get to Antarctica, and Ollie's put this fantastic slide together for us on a typical day in Antarctica. So we really want you to be comfortable and at home in Antarctica. And we get questions around, if you've got, on our bigger ships, how do we arrange a day to give the best experience for you? So one of the things we do in the Drake Passage is split you up into, we call them boat groups. So everybody's in a group, and then activities are rotated round. So in any one day, as we're going to share now, the typical day, the order of what you do for each guest may be different, but we aim to give all of these opportunities to all our guests. So this is a snapshot of what you'll see. So of course, food is a very important factor of any expedition. So on board, we have 3 restaurants where we're sharing different types of food. And also we source a lot of our food in Argentina and Chile, which is very important for us, our sustainability. So we start our day, food, and then this is a snapshot of what could happen, potentially going kayaking, then coming back on board. Most of our activities will be off the ship for 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours. When you're back on board, then potentially a lecture with one of our experts. Here, Simon, one of our ornithologists, is probably talking about albatross or penguins. Again, more food. In the afternoon, then a nature landing. So heading ashore, again, looking at working with our expedition team to really look at in depth into whether it be a nature landing, looking at penguins, a heritage site, etc. One of the things we do, and our ships have been built for the purpose, is these incredible science centers, which we'll talk about later, Verena, but where we can really have those practical workshops and look at in depth of what we've seen in the day. In the evening, of course, relaxation again, having food and drink, but one of the most important parts is the briefing for the next day. Karin, you've worked as EL many times. Well, I have as well. Yeah,
he has as well.
The briefings in the evening. How do we plan for the next day?
Very, very important, because this could be last minute planning. I mean, you are there in the realm of nature that can put a spanner in the works for plan A. So we might have to go for plan B or C, and they're all amazing plans. So whatever we kind of choose ends up being, you know, in a landscape which you feel like you're on another planet. So it's very important, those briefings in the evening. You get the most updated information on ice, on weather that we can expect the next day, and what timing we are looking at based on those two factors that we just mentioned. So super important. Yeah.
And you know, a big role of the expedition leader, who's one of the key people on the ship, as well as the captain and the hotel manager, etc. But everybody, the whole crew is super important, of course. But working out the plans for the next day based on all those factors to get the ship in the right place at the right time to give you all the best experience. So that's really key. As much as you plan, things can change. And one of the things, again, this is one of my favorite moments from a recent trip of change, is we'd had a full day, a bit like it had been shared. And then we attempted to sail up through this narrow passage called the Gullet. And this was about midnight. And the light just got more and more impressive. The decks got fuller and fuller. And we just kept on going. And the light just got more and more magic until eventually, I think people were so tired that they couldn't stand up anymore. They couldn't take it. So they were either falling asleep in the Explorer lounge or going to bed. But these magic moments, for me, are what make expedition cruising, where the unexpected part is really impressive. Okay, expedition team. Karin, tell us a bit about the team on board that will be looking after you.
So those people who will take every opportunity there is within 24 hours, every hour counts when you're south of 60 and you're in Antarctica. So they are trained to basically utilize every hour possible for you to enjoy your voyage, because those hours are so precious. So they will do everything from give you your lectures, to be in the science center with you, to help you shoreside, to be hiking with you where there is possible, snowshoeing, kayaking, and basically be the primary hosts of Antarctica with you.
Yeah, so multi-skilled, multi-talented, and incredibly knowledgeable. So great team.
Yeah.
But again, this is one of your favorite activities.
And this, when you were talking, Tudor, about, you know, when should you go and all of that, if you want to experience sea ice landing, the earliest in the season, the better. So November, most chances arise to do that because the sea ice haven't melted quite yet. But when you come mid-season, then there are fewer opportunities for that. But this is opportunistic to the core.
Yeah.
So this is us sailing and having probably done a full program already, seeing these chunks of ice and then thinking, let's be spontaneous here and let's drop 17 boats in the water and let's walk on ice. And that's what we
walk on water.
Walk on water. Walk on water.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And this is just as exciting for us as it is for our guests. Yeah.
Obviously, safety is the highest priority in everything we do, but part of this process and any landing, the expedition team going ashore, assessing the site, making sure everything's safe before we bring guests ashore. So that's very important. But we do a lot of activities off our ships in Antarctica. We've listed most here. We're going to talk about more in depth, but the aim of any trip is to really have that variety of the science and education activities, that comfort of the ship, that the wheel, as we called it at the start, but really to bring those together. One of the things we've been, Karin, you're head of expedition, vice president of expedition development. You've been working a lot on how we can expand. What part of our feedback is it expanding our kayaking and camping program?
Yeah, because the comments we have got is that our kayaking program and our camping program is low on, or were low on capacity. So we've been working here for a season and a half to kind of look at what we can do. And what we have decided to do is to expand our kayaking program with 188%. Well, it just basically means that we are doing a two-tier program. So we have one kayak program that we've already had where you go a bit longer with guides. And then we have one kayak program that you see in the left picture there, where you are left more autonomy. You will be kayaking within a perimeter and there are safety boats in the water, but you do not have any guides. You can go, you know, within reason, on your own. And these kayaks can take up to 2 people, but you can also paddle this alone. So if you're a single traveler and you would like to paddle this alone, this is the way you are normally paddling, or you want to do that, you can do that. And that is kind of new for us. We've always had to kind of pair up 2 people. And then the camping, so very excited about this. I will be on the very first trips on Amundsen and Nansen. So if you decide to book and you're coming, I'll see you, and then we'll see what we could do with
Sorry.
And then the bivvy is outdoor camping in the truest sense.
Yeah.
This picture was taken in December 2024 with me and my Svalbard mittens, I can see, testing out this product. And what we've seen is that a lot of guests feel kind of in a cocoon when they're inside the tent. They would like to be lying in their sleeping bag, being dry, and being able to kind of see the light change during the night. And that's what this bivvy will do. I've seen guests sitting up almost all night outside, not wanting to go inside the tent. The tent was there, but they didn't like it. So this is an answer to that prayer, in a sense, for people to be able to enjoy.
But again, it's providing that those options for you as guests to do that. And just sort of as an example of how hands-on management are, in the picture in the kayak, that's our CEO testing the product. And that was the best way to get some money to do this from him.
Was for him to do it.
Yeah, he loved it. So this is great fun. Everybody should be doing this. So that's great. Verena, at the core of any trip is being made, you know, a voyage with a sense of purpose and meaning. Our science and education program is the industry leading.
Yes, it has been the focus of our development for a few years now, and we not only offer our ships as platforms of opportunity to researchers to join us while you are sailing with us, but we also give a lot of importance to the education that you get, not only from our expedition team members who are experts and the only in the industry that have a work opportunity with us. We employ them permanently, so that they can also invest in being there for you 100%. And we offer a diverse ways for you to learn while on board, with lectures, hands-on activities, sessions using the microscopes, sessions on deck looking for wildlife and doing citizen science, and a lot of things. But what I like the most is the fact that you get to interact with the researchers themselves, and you get to be a part of their data collection, or to witness how it is to work in such remote environments. So this is one of my favorite moments in Antarctica. This was last season. We were supporting a project from the Norwegian Polar Institute. They are deploying sound recorders in Antarctica to see what the whales are doing when people are gone. And this is Heidi. She is the researcher leading this program. She was so happy to recover her instrument, because it was the very first time this was deployed. It stayed in Antarctica throughout the winter, a whole year, and she didn't know if we were going to recover it or not. So it was proof that her concept works, her system works. And she not only was super happy to recover it, but she was also amazed by what she recorded with her instruments, and wanted, of course, to share that with our guests in real time. So that is just an example of the whale recordings that she collected during the 10 months that the recorders were on the water. So my favorite experiences is for you to share this, and because of that, or well, not because of that, but because we do have a science very, very top level on all our trips, we will have guest scientists on all our 3 vessels throughout the season, and we will be hosting researchers from several research institutions, the University of Tasmania, California Ocean Alliance, the charity Orca in the UK, Norwegian Polar Institute. Again, we will have penguin watchers or people from Penguin Watch doing monitoring on penguin colonies. So do not be surprised, just be open-minded and wanting to learn as much as possible from the guest scientists that you will encounter on our destination, all our trips in Antarctica this season.
Yeah. And having that those people there firsthand with cutting-edge research and being able to share and talk, and you know, we see it with some guests, they almost like become groupies of the scientists because they want to know what's happened today. And what they're doing. It's amazing. But also, Verena, there's opportunity for our guests to get involved.
Yes, exactly. We not only have guest researchers or guest scientists, but we also participate in a number of citizen science projects where you yourself can contribute to the data collection, or join us during the science boat, where we also collect samples for specific research projects. If you want to be involved in these projects, we will share in due time the QR codes for the most used applications for citizen science projects. Here you have a few examples. So if you like birds, we would recommend that you install Merlin ID and eBird. If you are more into plants, then iNaturalist is your app. And if you are into whales, you can start discovering happywhale.com so that you know how to best be a part of the citizen science programs that we support on board.
And also the aim is for you as our guest not to just use these citizen science projects when you're on board, but to take this away and do stuff forever, which is great fun. But also in terms of learning and preparation, we also have this amazing partnership with the University of Tasmania, where we have a pre-departure course or introduction to Antarctica, which can be done during the trip, after the trip, but the aim is designed to do before the trip. So when you book, you will get a link to be able to do this course, and it really prepares you for the trip, which is fantastic. Okay, but I'm going to hand over now to, or we're going to talk with Ollie. Ollie's the head. He's been sitting here patiently. Ollie works in the office here, slaving away, making lots of things happen for us all. But he went to Antarctica for the first time last year, so we thought it would be brilliant.
This year, in March,
yeah. Sorry, last season. Sorry. So Ollie, tell us a little bit about your trip, and we'll get going. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm by no means an expert like these guys, but I just wanted to talk today about my experiences. It's very kind of fresh in the memory, and it was quite simply sensational from start to finish. So I went with a friend, as I have young children at home, so that's me and my friend landing on the continent. We did the highlights of Antarctica Expedition. We sailed on Fridtjof Nansen. And if you go on to the next slide, so I'd heard a number of people talk in my time at the business about waking up in Antarctica. So when that actually happened for me, I took this video, and I just invite you to play it and then listen to my reaction at the end.
Wow.
And quite simply, I think if you haven't been to Antarctica, then you have no way of articulating that experience and the impact of the continent on you as you arrive. And you've gone through the journey that Tudor has described during the call today, but that was just something that absolutely blew my mind. The silence, the peace, the serenity, the beauty. It was just literally out of this world, and I'm struggling to find the words.
And I think one of the really good examples, and Verena talked about at the start, the best time to go. At the start and the end of the season, the light, you get this more variable light. So, waking up in the morning is kind of like the morning, but you get this, and it's just that, super calm day. They brought the weather on for you, Ollie.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
And you put some great shots of these guys in here, Ollie. Tell us a bit about your experiences with penguins.
Yeah, I think anybody who visits Antarctica, it has to be one of the number one attractions of seeing the seventh continent. And I literally have thousands of penguin pictures on my phone and on my SLR. These are my top 6, if you like, mainly Gentus, but I was particularly proud of the one where they're swimming. And some of these are on my iPhone, by the way. Not all of these are on the SLR, but we also were lucky enough to see the Adelis. They're in the top right-hand corner there. But yeah, just the most incredible species, and a real privilege to witness them in their natural habitat like that. It was really, really special. And if you go to the next slide, please, there's a couple of videos just to bring that experience to life. And there's the little guy in the left-hand corner there was extremely cute.
Is he your favourite penguin?
I think so.
That's the one you take home.
No. We leave.
Yeah.
So this is taken with your iPhone then?
With my iPhone,
Yeah.
yeah. And my first landing on Antarctica, so very, very special. And
in this one, Ollie, as well as the penguins, part of our safety procedures is if in the event we had a shore stranding, then we take safety equipment ashore. So that equipment is brought off the ship for the duration of the landing and then taken back to the ship. But it's quite good showing it there, Ollie. So thanks for your.
That's very good.
And this is a beach landing, and you can see there's a large colony of Gentus here. And they're just not at all fussed that we're there and visiting. They're just going about their business, enjoying their day, feeding. And it's just, again, I can't really describe how amazing that experience was, just to observe and to be there and be a part of it. Yeah, literally breathtaking.
And in terms, we all our activities are incredibly permitted in what we do. And also we're a very active member of IATA, which is the industry association. And you're briefed on the guidelines. Did you feel it restrictive at all in terms of management of landing of the sites, or?
Not particularly, no. Obviously, everyone was very mindful of respecting the 2-3 meter distance from the penguins, but 5 meter distance from the penguins. Yeah, like I said, the penguins just really didn't even notice we were there. They were just oblivious a lot of the time.
Is because of the management.
Yeah, it's because of the management. Yeah.
Of course, penguins are aquatic birds, so seeing them ashore, they only come ashore to breed. But here you are, Ollie.
Yeah, and this is the view from the kayaking experience that we had, and they're just pottering along beside us. I didn't realise quite how quickly they can travel in water, and I think it's about 30-40 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, 40, yeah.
Which is incredible to see.
It's super fast.
Just
having penguins coming between my legs and standing in the water. And dude, you're
talking of swimming, Ollie.
And this is embarrassing, but I had to muster up the courage to get into the Antarctic Ocean because I knew my colleagues wouldn't let me live it down if I didn't. So there's a bit of a build up here.
Go for it, in there.
My friend's egging me on.
Just do it.
I did it, and I'm really glad I did.
Don't stop. Don't look back. Just keep going. Don't stop.
Quite experience and quite refreshing.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
And that is maybe a good time to just say that we offer 2 kinds of polar plunges now.
Well done.
So it's one that can be done from the ship where you really go into the deep, and then one from shoreside.
Yeah.
Great experiences.
Yeah.
We were lucky to see lots of whales when we went, and this is a photo that I took with my SLR of a whale fluke, a humpback whale, doing a dive, and I logged that on Happy Whale. So as Verena pointed out, we have all these amazing apps that you can use when you're on board the ship to look at the movements of the whales. And you can even kind of preview before your trip what whales are in the region of the expeditions that have recently sailed to those areas. This particular whale that I spotted, I logged on Happy Whale, and then the next day I received an email saying that it was first spotted in March 2018 in Peru, and it had recently been spotted seven other sightings in between. But again, you know, just that experience of seeing that wild animal and the movements that it makes around the world, and they can do like 10,000 miles a year, and they're just incredible species. So that was fantastic. And then if you go to the next slide, please, Tudor, there's a couple of videos of the encounters that we had with these humpback whales from a kayak.
I mean, that is of course an experience that we are very careful with, and now when there is this much whales in Antarctica in the season, we make precautions for that, not because that they are dangerous, but for us not to disturb them and not to change their direction of swimming and all of that. So we are very cautious about that.
And this was my friend's first ever kayaking experience.
Oh wow!
And there's been a few questions in the chat about, you know, do you have to have lots of experience for kayaking? Do you need to know your way around a boat and things like that? I was like, absolutely not. This was his first time, and yeah, his mind was absolutely blown by the experience and intrigue.
So yeah, part of the expedition team are activity guides that lead these activities. So yeah, incredibly lucky to get these experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
And they brief you very, very carefully before you are even going in.
Yeah.
So we have some very good offers at the moment on last minute deals that are available for the upcoming season. And for our US customers, we do have Thanksgiving sailings as well, or any nationality can enjoy them when they're on board, but just so you're aware of these. And if you go to the next slide, please, Julia. We have a special promotion code available for webinar guests today. So thank you. As a little thank you for joining today. For the next 2 weeks, you have a code available, which if you call our call center and quote or speak to your travel agent partner, then you will be able to redeem 5% off those deals that I presented on the previous slide too.
Incredible deals.
Oh
yeah. Also, as I mentioned at the start, we do have a webinar series that we talk about different destinations. So if you are interested in looking at more destinations, these are the recorded versions of what you're seeing now, and this one will also join that library. So there are, if you want to find out more, we've done a sort of whistle-stop tour, and I know there's been questions about what to pack and those type of things, which we do cover more in detail in pre-departure webinars. So there is, we do provide a lot more information, but we wanted to introduce the destination more than sort of go into those type of details here. You've obviously got our contact details because you're in the webinar now, but this is just a reminder if you do need to make a call to one of our customer support teams or the emails. But we also wanted to allow some time for you to ask some questions, and I think Ollie's been fielding some questions as well whilst he was
multitasking,
waiting anxiously for us to finish the presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing screen, Ollie, and then you can ask away.
Great. And on the topic of whales, our first question is about what stops the whales from upturning you whilst kayaking. So Karin, would you like to answer that one, please?
It's the whales are as scared of getting hurt as we are of getting hurt. So what they do is they try to avoid being getting scratches on their skins, so to speak, because that could give them infections or and so forth. So they are very aware of their own presence, and they avoid us rather than seek us.
And there are also very strict guidelines in how to operate around in whale infested waters, but you know it does sometimes at the end of the season it does seem infested.
It does.
But then also throughout the season, as an industry, the tour operators have elected to only go at a speed of 10 knots, no more than 10 knots, to avoid as whale strike mitigation measures. So that's very important. So protecting the areas we sail in are really, really important. And of course, Verena manages a team of guest scientists also doing lots of whale research. So very, very important for us.
But interesting there, if you just talk about the whales, which was a lot less prominent just 15 years ago. And, you know, when I started more than 20 years ago, they were not, we could see maybe a few in January. Now, already from November, Verena, we are already seeing, seeing
mostly
them.
humpbacks.
Mostly humpbacks. And what we've seen is that there has been, if it's accurate right now, I don't know, but there was a 16% increase of whales. So it's a fantastic, good story about recovery of species that, you know, you always hear because, you know, being extinct and so forth. Here we have a good story. So
very, very much so.
Whales are becoming very prominent in the Antarctic Peninsula.
Yes.
There's a question for me, which is a rarity, about what type of SLR camera did I have? So I had a Nikon D60 with a 55mm lens, and other brands are available. It's not that we have an association with Nikon or anything, but I know Verena is a big fan of Nikon. Nikon, however you pronounce it.
And I think what is important to say is part of the expedition team is a professional photographer. And at the end of every voyage, they provide we call it a voyage logbook. And part of that is a portfolio of their best photos from the trip, which you can download to complement your own pictures. So you can really take away those magic memories.
Verena, a lot of interest in the University of Tasmania course. So in terms of the next season and when that new course will be available and when we'll be able to release that,
so that course was launched for the very first time last season, so in November 2024. And it was the first ever iteration of the course. We are now working on the version 2 to respond to many of the comments that we got from all of our guests who participated in the course. And we are hoping to have it ready to go around end of September, beginning of October for the very first trips in the Antarctic during the Antarctic season, which will be around end of October. So we want to provide the first people traveling with us with a month at least to cover the course, which will take about 4 hours. And they will get a nice certificate from the University of Tasmania.
And more importantly, be really prepared for the trip with their information. So not learning things for the first time in the field, but you know, it's like doing the preparation side. So
and it covers a lot of topics, not only wildlife and ecosystems. It also talks about governance of Antarctica, of what it is like to live and work in Antarctica, about history. So it's really a worthwhile course to take.
It's not easy as well, it has to be said. It's rewarding as well to fulfill, get the certificate, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, whenever you are so prepared that you know absolutely everything, you get to enjoy even more the places that you are visiting. So yes.
Absolutely. Karin, on the new camping and kayaking slots.
Yes.
Again, a lot of questions, which is great. That was only released, that news today. So that's hot off the press. That's something that's being released from this October. So very much a fresh announcement for this webinar. Some of the comments around whether you have to be first come, first served and like the availability on board.
Right.
So just to understand that.
So for the kayaking, we take every sign up. We don't do any kind of lottery or whatever we call it. We sign up everybody in groups who want to go, and then we plan to get through all the groups. And the only thing that prevents us from doing that is really the weather. So if the weather goes haywire, then there is not just that goes, then maybe a lightning or two as well. So that's for the kayaking. Then we take every sign up and assign them to groups. And for the camping, we have now on a 5-day voyage, realistically you only have one night to camp because we have to make the distances right. So we now have doubled the capacity on all our ships, meaning we have 30 places for tents, and then we have 30 places for bivvy. So that means that we now have 60 places to do camping. Yes, which in very often in the cases have actually proven to be almost everybody. And on longer trips, like on Amundsen, that have maybe up to 10 days in Antarctica, we have the chance to do it twice. I think you and me, Tudor, we have the record. We have the
I'm not sure it's a good record to
no,
have.
I don't know either. But we did 3 campings in one trip, but we were knackered after that. And it was just one of those trips where you could. But anyway, we did 3, but we never did it again.
No,
that was that once.
Probably for a reason, Karin.
Yeah, that could be it.
Tim was tired too.
Yeah. No, but the 2 can be done on a longer trip. 1 on, and then 60 places on each. Yeah.
Right. Question for Tudor, I think.
Tudor.
Drake Passage. Lots of questions about Drake Passage. Is there a better time to go? How rough is it? What to expect?
It's we call it the Drake Lake or the Drake Shake, and then everything in between. Our ships are bigger. They do have stabilizers. We do recommend people, if they know they suffer with motion sickness, to take some precautionary medicine or ginger with them. Gin as a natural supplement. It's a lottery on the systems, on the weather systems going around. The captains do look really closely at the weather, and sometimes we change course slightly to make it as comfortable as possible, because we want you to be as comfortable as possible. Nobody, people say, I'd really like to experience rough weather, but you don't want to. We all have, but you don't want to. But so we
half an hour maybe.
Yeah, half an hour, but you can't turn it off. So it is a mix. The ships are comfortable, and we do try to make it as comfortable as possible if it is rough. But we look at the timing of the crossing, the weather patterns, the swell height, form, etc., etc. But you can get Drake Lake, and I'd probably say, out of all the trips I've done and probably similar, maybe once a season. Is like once out of and there's a lot of trips that once a season get an uncomfortable sailing.
I mean, from my personal experience in March, I had about 4-meter waves on the way down, which were fine, which were kind of average, and then it was 2 meters on the way back. It was absolutely But I was like,
4 meters is fine with our ships. They're large and comfortable with. So
and like you say, the bigger ships have the stabilizer, so that's the benefit of larger ships in the Drake.
But it is also kind of part of the experience, right? To get a tiny bit of waves and imagine what the early explorers experienced while getting down south. So
it's what do we say normally? We say you have to earn the right to come to
exactly. Exactly.
and the Drake Passage is kind of the test. If you and you enjoy.
But also it is like we said at the beginning, the time for preparing for the experience, but when you're coming back is also the time for absorbing everything that you have just experienced. So I love the Drakes.
I really do. I really love them.
Absolutely. If you had to choose from going early on in the season, end of October, beginning of November,
Yeah.
or at the end of the season in March,
Mm.
which one would you recommend and why? I sailed on RA last December and it changed my life. Please tell the crew thank you once again. Lovely.
Good comment. Yeah.
Very good question.
For me, at the start of the season you get a lot of white and that clean, pristine. So that gives a different dimension to Antarctica for me.
I like
it's different with the wildlife. So that white aspect. At the end of the season, what I really like about the end of the season is the light.
Yeah.
Because you get the sunsets, so yeah, it's hard. It's
And the whale galore at the end.
If you have to
and the
pick,
whales at the end. If I had to pick one,
if you had to pick, what did you do? What would you?
Okay, I'd go start of the season.
Yeah, me too. I would go start of the season.
Verena, what would you?
Me too. I love the pristine white views and also when you get hundreds of penguins arriving at the same time back to the colony to start the breeding season. If you're lucky, that is one of the most amazing spectacles that you can never experience.
Yeah.
I agree.
I imagine the photography is better in the start of the season.
Start and end of the season photography because the light and the diffuse light is good. But,
and the landscape with the white and the contrast.
It really is. But it's good all the time.
But the whales are so much better in March.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and Christmas and January, got penguin chicks. I just want to spend the whole season. I need to go back and be in EL. Except they wouldn't have me.
We've had a few solo passenger questions, which was good, and typically we get between 20-30% of our guests are solo, so it's a really popular experience for our guests to go solo. But a lot of questions are regarding the activities and the camping and the kayaking for solos. So Karin?
Yeah, and this is what I like about the new additions that we have on both, is that both kayaking now with the sit on top kayaks are fit for doing for one person. Same now with the camping. With the tent you need to be two, but for the bivvy you are on your own.
Yeah.
So there you kind of you are as social as you want to be. So you can be very social, but you kind of have your own autonomy in both these. So that's, I think, of all the things that we have developed over the last year on the activity side, this is the two things that speaks really, really well to solo travelers.
And in fact, probably you're going to say we're actually going to do a webinar about solo travelers because we've had so many questions in the other webinars we've done. So we're going to do one specifically for solo travelers and talk about the opportunities and how it works. Current about the camping and the kayaking and et cetera. So we're going to be doing that in the coming weeks, I think.
Indeed, early August.
Early August.
There is a question around: can you camp solo as well, though, or do you have to buddy up in a tent?
In the tent, you have to buddy up. In the tent, you have to buddy up. But because we have two ways of camping, it is the tent, you have to buddy up with someone. But in the bivvy, you are on your own. Because
we often get asked by solo travelers or people, or even couples that don't want to go with their partner because they realise how comfortable the bed is. So we do, the expedition team on board will put you together with somebody if you want to go in the traditional tented camping.
And you get introduced before, so you have these briefings. So you become a quite tight-knit group before, because you prepare together, you go out together, and you also do the evaluation afterwards together. Or we have, become a little bit of a groupie kind of group. After you've done your camping, you're a selected group.
Absolutely. And the question, Tudor, I think you're perfectly placed to answer this. I have somebody looking at a large shipped scenic Antarctic cruise.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest benefit of actually making a landing versus being on a bigger ship where you just kind of sail by and you don't get to land on the continent?
Yeah, I think all ships provide different experiences, depending on the size. Whether you go on a yacht is a very different experience than going on
and you work yourself down.
yeah. So there's different experiences, but I think landing, getting that feeling and up close, that 5 meters following the rules with the penguins, smelling and feeling that, being on the boats, on the small boats, those experiences really give you a far greater understanding, and that seeing. And again, so I think being able to land compared with there are bigger ships that operate in Antarctica as cruise only vessels, which you don't get off the ship at all. You stay on board and you're seeing things only from the deck at a distance. So it is a very different experience. So yeah, I think you can't beat getting your feet on the ground, so to speak. Right.
Or being on a Zodiac as well, on a small boat. It's just out of the world.
Yeah.
It's those perspectives.
Yeah.
One final question then for Karin.
Oh.
What is a bivy bag is one, and then what's the difference between the experience in a tent and a bivy bag?
Oh, good question. So a bivy bag means that you have a waterproof cover bag around your sleeping bag, and you also have your sleeping mats or your tent mats inside this waterproof bag. So it's like a cover for you to be dry, but being in the open in a sense. But you can be as open as close as you want, really, because the hooded has a tent pole in it, so it won't kind of just fall into your face, but it will keep like a little cocoon around you so you can see out, or you can just take away that tent pole and then basically cover it, but then you get a little bit of moist and so forth. So that is a bivy. You sleep on the snow in a waterproof bag with your sleeping bag and your mat inside, nice and toasty. Tent, as you know, for kind of wallish walls. You set it up, you go inside, you have your sleeping bag and your mat in there, you go in and out of that tent during the night, and you then are basically covered, or you don't have that view. I feel like I'm selling bivy right now, but I am, because I think it is the best experience of the two. But both are, for those who are inexperienced and feel that bivy is maybe a step too far, tent. Go for the tent. Then it's that is a good experience. Yeah.
Excellent. That concludes the Q&A then, I believe. So
I'd just like to say thanks to the team in the background that have been answering your questions. So Lee, Lasse, Alice, Tony, Olga, everyone, and everyone else, as we've had a team answering your questions. So thanks very much. At the end of the webinar, there will be a survey. If you could just fill it, it's a very simple, quick survey. So when we finish, you'll get a notification. We would love to hear your feedback because we try and make these better. Apologies for running over. We get a bit excited, especially when we include Ollie in the call. But it's fantastic to have his experience. But thank you very much for listening, and we very much look forward to welcoming you on board. And don't forget to take advantage of these amazing offers.
Get on with it. Book.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you on board.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.